sir. How has your journey been so far in the industry? You can tell me.
How's my journey been? I wish it would. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I've done. You want to know what I've done, or?
Yeah, what you have done and
I've primarily.
your complete journey. You can use English, Hindi as well.
ठीक है. My journey. I started off doing theatre actually. I didn't plan on this career as well. You know, as some people might. I started doing theatre. That was how I started doing things. I did a whole bunch of TV commercials after that, while continuing doing theatre. I have an improv group that does a lot of improv stuff, which continues till this day. And then I've been doing some films and this big web series. I mean, you know, so yeah, it's been a lot of starts and stops. I guess that's how a lot of people's careers go, and I hope there's more starts than stops.
Okay, sir. And this new, the series which is coming. So please, if you can tell something about your character in this show.
My character is the boss of the office is the boss of the Faridabad branch, but he thinks of himself as less of a boss and more of a friend, you know, to everybody. He thinks that he's everybody's best friend, and he anyway has a difficult time separating professional and personal lives. He thinks it's all together. He wants to be a part of everybody's personal life. He just wants to know about their problems. He wants to be their best friend. And as it is, it's hard to make your boss your best friend. And B, he's not exactly the person who is ideally suited to be someone's best friend or confidant anyway. He also thinks he's a very funny person. He thinks he's a very funny person, and he's extremely entertaining. And he's constantly trying to get the attention of everybody and make them laugh. And most often that doesn't work, so then he has to try even harder and do different things. So I think that creates the comedic elements in the show.
Okay, and how different Mukul is, it's completely different from your character.
I think there's a lot of differences. There are lots of differences.
What's
like
the name in the character?
Jagdeep Chadda. So it's actually, the last name is the same actually.
Yeah.
Mukul Chadda is playing Jagdeep
So
Chadda.
how Jagdeep Chadda is different from
So Mukul Chadda and Jagdeep Chadda, I think the differences are, if I would think about it, Jagdeep is extremely impulsive. You know, he's like, in fact, I think one of his lines is, "Soch ke kaun bolta hai yaar?" Matlab, you know, like it's like he doesn't believe that he should have any filter. Matlab, jo man mein aaya kar deta hai, you know, and whatever he desires, he just says it, does it, whatever. Mukul is quite the opposite. I mean, deliberate about everything he does, perhaps too much so. So that's one big difference.
about lingo, like the language he speaks.
Language, of course, is different. I mean,
Faridabad.
he's from Faridabad. I grew up in Chennai. So I mean, there's a differences there that exist. Yeah, he's constantly trying to be the center of attention. He wants to be the life of the party. He wants to jump into things. I think I'm a lot more reticent in social gatherings compared to him. So yeah, there are quite a lot of differences, I hope.
Okay, and how did you prepare for this role? Like you followed that English version of the show, or you did some workshop?
So actually the show, when we started only, when I got the part itself, they had told us very clearly that they are adapting the US version of the show. So that was the basic template, and I'd already watched it during the audition process. I'd watched a few episodes during the audition process, so I kind of got a sense of, you know, what the character was and what the show was about. So that was already there. Then of course I had to work to be Jagdeep Chadda, because like you said, you know, he's very different from Mukul in several ways. So I had to create that character or become that character, and that took a lot of work. Yes, there was a workshopping process for the whole cast together, because, you know, you can have your own individual process, each actor can do it, but you also have to get the cast together, you know, so that, because we're all working in an office and we have to come across as if we've been working there for years. So we did a 9-day workshop process. Joy Fernandez actually took that workshop, and it was actually, you know, if nothing else, it was, I mean, there were lots of good things about that. One of the biggest things to me was there was, you know, just the fact that we all spent time together, we got friendly, we knew each other. That created a nice atmosphere. Then we did a mock shoot, and only then we started shooting. So there was, I think, was nice about, you know, applause that when they were making it, they chose to, you know, make sure there's a good rehearsal process in place before we actually start filming.
Any memorable moments from the show?
So many memorable moments. I mean,
Close to your heart, anyone?
you know, I think we got along really well on set. I mean, we used to, it was a very lovely office set that was built. There was a lovely set. Mansi Mehta and her team created a lovely...
In Mumbai itself?
It's in Mumbai. It's in Mumbai. It was created in Mumbai. We shot all in Mumbai. So it was wonderfully created, that set, because it really gave a feel of an office. The day we stepped in, we really felt this, you know, looks and feels like an office. Everything was real. It wasn't like, you know, on a set you often have things that just look from appearance to be something, but we had, I mean, the laptops worked, you know, everything was, the Xerox machine worked, everything was a proper functioning office in a sense, and that creates that real feel, and you feel really good about that. We had, and so very often, you know, when you were not on a shot, most people would just go back to their vanity or their rooms. But many people used to hang out on set because it was just a comfortable place. You know, it was just, you felt comfortable. They sat at their desk where they used to work. They used to just sit there only in breaks because that was their space. People had created their own, you know, I had a very big cabin. So in their desks, you put, you know, little things to eat, you put games. Everybody had created that at their own desks. So you kind of felt comfortable in those places. My cabin became a place which was an adda. You know, people would come and play games over there. We played lots of Uno, we played lots of Ludo. We played cricket on set until the set designers kept running and very carefully because they were worried that we'll break something. But there was a great atmosphere on set with everybody playing it. There were video game challenges between us because there was a lot of downtime that some actors had all times, and you know, it was great actually.
So you enjoyed it?
Yes, I mean, it was very hard actually. It was a hard schedule. It was tough. It was a very long schedule that we shot, and through most of it through summer, so it was very, very hot. But and shooting is always difficult, but no, it was also very enjoyable.
Okay, and like, how is to work with your co-actors? Anyone whom you want to name specially?
I think lots of them. You know, I think the people. So I knew Gopal before. Gopal Dutt. We had worked together in a lot of shows. I mean, we'd done theatre projects together. Then we'd done a lot of different projects here and there. So we had worked together before. So I knew that with Gopal there was an ease, you know, there was a comfort level, we would work very easily. I was very happy when I heard he got the part because I knew, one, it's a difficult part what he's doing, TP Mishra, which is based on Dwight. And I knew that he'll do justice to it. And I also, we have lots of scenes together, lots of chemistry between the characters. And I was very happy because you know, there's that mutual respect and understanding that Gopal ke saath to aaram se ho jayega, you know, and that felt comfortable. And that comfort was there from day one. With a lot of the other actors, it wasn't there from day one because you have to know them, but it developed very fast. You know, there were lots of people, with Shayandeep, with Amit, I had a lot of scenes, that worked. There's a character called Sapan, who's played by Abhinav. We developed a great bond because, you know, also our characters have a bond, and sometimes when you have fun in a scene with somebody, that does develop into, you know, when after the shot, you kind of become friendly and hang out. So lots of people, with Samriddhi, who plays Pammi, loads of them. Gohar, who played you know, the role of Riya Pava, my boss. Most of my scenes outside the office were either with Gopal or with Gohar, and she was, again, you know, wonderful to work with. She was not part of the immediate people in the office, so she kind of came a little later and all that, but you know, got along with her very well.
And if we'll talk about and if you can share like your next upcoming projects.
There's a film that I've done which is tentatively titled Fairy Folk. That's a very interesting project in terms of how it's been made. It's you know, it was shot. We first shot it linearly. We kind of shot it with. I mean, you shot every scene as it happened in the film, so it was great. Because as an actor, you know, normally you go in, you shoot scene 62, then scene 12. It's very difficult. This was actually wonderful. I mean, I think Karan, who's the director, made it very easy for the actors. He just, you know, he let us do long takes without calling cut. He would, then he'll cut it and accordingly. He had multiple cameras, so he had multiple options to do that. He allowed us to be in that space and, you know, do our own thing. So his way of filmmaking was very interesting, and I'm very keen to know how that film turns out.
He made it linearly.
He made it linearly. So it's actually hard. Logistically, it's a problem because sometimes we do a scene, we're doing a scene in a jungle, I remember, and that's scene 58 and then scene 70. And logically, any producer will say, let's shoot both those together. But you can't. So we have to, we do 50. Some days you just do that and come back, and then you know, 5 days later, we'd go back and do the next scene. So it was tough on him. You know, it was very tough on him to get that done. Yes, exactly. Much tougher. But he chose to do it. He believed in what he wanted to do, and he did it. And I think that had made a difference in the project because there were reasons to get that done that way for the kind of project it was, because a lot of things evolved in a scene as we went along. Yeah, and so that was very nice actually, and I'm very keen to know how it happens. It's about this couple in Bombay, and then a set of very strange incidents start happening that affect their lives, and how it affects them and their relationship. And
it's a web series or a movie?
I don't know what platform it will come out on. I think the film isn't finished yet, so I think that's the first step. He will finish it, and then he will I guess find an avenue to release it and how we can release it. But yeah, I'm guessing it might come on one of these OTT platforms.
Okay, till when? Like after 2 months?
I think probably maybe next year. I'm guessing it'll come next year. I think by the time it gets done next year. So yeah, that's some next thing I'm very excited about. Yeah.
Last thing, like if you can say any dialogue or anything from The Office.
Uh,
That particular character.
अरे फनी है यार ये शो देख लो मैं कह रहा हूँ मैं हूँ ना उसमें
Thank you, sir.
थैंक यू सो मच थैंक यू